Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on a gorgeous Friday morning, live from our Clare Court set. There's been a lot of activity. Again, things kind of cooled down about 10 o'clock, so it's quieter now over on the front side and behind us. But boy, this morning there was a lot of activity, both places, and understandably on a gorgeous Friday morning. If you're coming to the track this afternoon, by all means, put that on your agenda because it's a great day. Nice card. And tomorrow, more of the same. Don't forget today, tote bag giveaway today. So if you come to the track, tote bag with a paid admission while supplies last. So keep that in mind for today as well. Coming up on the show, looking forward to a little bit later on, Jose Santos Jr. Again, he's kind of changing the game on the jockey agent side of things. We had his father in a few weeks ago, Jose Santos of Funny Side fame. He was great, but always fun to talk to Jose Santos Jr. We've had him in a few times now. And again, really bringing a new twist to being a jockey agent. I think he has 8 jocks under him at various tracks around the country. So we'll talk about that and more. Bob Ehalt from the Blood Horse will join us. We'll take a look. A couple of articles he's written recently that were notable, but also we'll obviously take a look at the weekend as well with Bob. And we'll also take a look at the weekend with the next guest, as it is a week of New York Bred Stakes races. Who better to reach out to than our friend Naj Thompson from the New York Thoroughbred Breeders. Naj, good morning.
Good morning, Seth. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you on board on a week like this. And again, you and I were talking yesterday, and it used to be New York Showcase Day. That was the day after the Travers, and I said, why did you spread them out? And it was a great reason.
Yeah, no, it's to give us the opportunity to not be so dependent on the weather. You know, it's very stressful for me and our breeders and owners, especially trainers as well, when you're worrying about, you know, the forecast going into one specific day. So when you have the opportunity to bookend throughout the meet, feature New York Bred Stakes 2 a day, really, throughout from Thursday and then coming back on Sunday, phenomenal opportunity to showcase the program. Yeah,
we've had some stakes already, and we'll take a look at absolutely at the Albany in a moment. But today it's the Seeking Yanni and the Yadu. Sunday, the Funny Side and the West Point. Lots of great New York bred action. And again, you lead the New York Thoroughbred Breeders. Folks can check out the website if they want to. I think we have a graphic with the website and get more information there. New York Breds have become very prominent in the New York scene, and there have been some changes recently. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, just give us the mission of the New York Thoroughbred Breeders.
Definitely. We are the authorized representative of the breeding industry in New York State. So we work on our membership behalf to fight for us when we're dealing with the racetrack, make sure we have a great stakes program. When we're dealing with the legislature, advocating for things such as a new Belmont Park, making sure upgrades are continuous here at Saratoga, and really working on behalf of our breeders to ensure that the incentives are worthwhile in bringing your mares here, foaling in New York. And if you're a New York sire, that's 40% of breeder purse earnings. Non-New York sire, 20% for first place in breeders' purse earnings. So phenomenal opportunities here in New York.
And for folks who maybe aren't familiar, I mean, again, I say it a lot during the meet. We get new fans. I think Saratoga brings in new fans, so we get people who maybe aren't as familiar with the game, and they maybe are just concentrating on coming, understandably, coming and cashing some tickets and doing some handicapping. But the breeding industry in this state is a real economic engine.
Certainly is. Overall, the thoroughbred industry is 19,000 jobs, 3.3 billion in economic impact. A significant part of that is the breeding industry right here in the capital region. And, you know, speaking of capital OTB, you guys, Seth, we're all a part of making what makes, you know, the capital region, Saratoga County, everything's so great. You can see the breeding farms in our area, the stallion standing just across the way as you leave the track. It all contributes to the thoroughbred industry as a whole in New York. And when you get to see, those babies eventually graduate and run on the track, it's a great experience.
Yeah, up here in this area, the McMahons and Jim and Tina Pond. And while we're talking about it, a reminder, because I think there's still a few left. The breeding farm tours the last couple of seasons have been very popular over there, part of the breakfast scene.
Yeah, no, it's something we partner with NYRA and making sure that we can get folks the opportunity to visit breeding farms. As you mentioned, we have Song Hill Thoroughbreds, Jim and Tina Bond, as well Old Tavern Farm and Sugar Plum Farm. So phenomenal opportunities to experience the full trajectory of racing from the baby stage to the final stage in the afternoons.
Yeah, I know Jim and Tina were in that last year or the year before when it just started, and they said they were getting a great response and people coming and asking questions and just kind of enjoying the visit and seeing another side of the game that, again, is an important side of the game as well. Talk a little bit about, because the New York Bred program has made some significant changes, and we're looking for maybe some more as we get into next year as well, as far as purse structure and whatnot, breeders awards. Talk a little bit about that side of things.
Definitely. So coming in 2026 for our New York Bred 2-year-old crop will be purse parity. And essentially that means New York Breds will be running for the same purses as open company purses. So when you flip through your form and you see the $100,000 maiden races for the Kentucky babies, you own a New York Bred, you'll be running for those same purses starting next year.
And we've had some owners. I'll mention Roddy Valente mentions it all the time because of Bustin' Stones. But we have other owners in here as well and have horses and go on to be breeders. And Roddy talks about it all the time. A Bustin' Stones horse that somebody else owns, that horse wins. Yeah. Roddy's at home collecting a check. Correct. So that works out okay.
Yes, no, that's being part of our program. As long as you're a developer or a breeder, you'll always receive earnings back as that horse continues to run on, whether you're the owner or not.
Yeah, the New York Bred program, since I've been in the game, has gone leaps and bounds, and we'll hit on some of the horses coming up to watch that are making the noise as well. But it used to be, kind of a second tier. Not anymore. If you got a nice New York Bred, you can pick off the New York Bred races if you want to, or go out in open company. And we will certainly, as I say, talk about some of that in just a moment. But let's go back yesterday and talk about the Albany, because this is a nice New York Bred that I wouldn't be surprised will step out in open company sooner rather than later. Faced open company earlier in the career down at Oaklawn, but really is coming into his own for Steve Asmussen up here. And again, the Albany yesterday for the 3-year-olds, and Iron Dome just looked fantastic.
Certainly did. Homebred, part ownership for Chester Broman, who bred the horse and is in part ownership as well. And a phenomenal horse that's come along as of late, seems to, grow and mature, as you stated, Seth. Started out in Oaklawn, but, shipping here to Saratoga, running home as a homebred in New York and at a place at Saratoga. Great to see him perform as he did yesterday.
Yeah, Chester Broman, again, a prominent name on the New York Bred side of things as well. We're familiar with a lot of, the Bonds and the McMahons and Chester Broman, and it's good to see, the New York Bred program paying off for those folks who have been prominent in the game for quite a while. That was a nice one. That was a nice iron winner yesterday, and we are expecting maybe an iron winner today with the Seeking the Andy. And I just wanted to show this because this was a funky condition early in the meet. There were a couple of races where they were auction restricted but open to New York Breds, and so it's auction restricted. But Iron Orchard, who went for $500,000, got into this race. Again, there were a couple of these earlier in the meet, and we'll take a look at that debut effort by Iron Orchard, which was huge and just made the most of the conditions. And subsequently, they've juggled those around. I think early on they were looking to fill up some races, and they played around with the condition as well. But this New York Bred side of things, open to New York Breds, has kind of gone away. But Iron Orchard made the most of it for Danny Gargan and company, Randy Hill. And coming into this afternoon, Seeking the Annie off of this victory, looks very intriguing.
Yeah, no, certainly does. And as you said, Seth, smart enough by the connections to check the racing conditions to sneak in a $500,000 purchase, which certainly wasn't the intended scope when those conditions were initially created. But you have to credit Danny Gargan and the entire team, and he looked phenomenal. And racing back today in race 3, we'll see what he can do.
Yeah, the Seeking the Annie, one of the New York Bred Stakes that, again, are being placed throughout this week. And as I say, I think it's an interesting – but on the handicapping show, as we handicapped this race, we said, What do you think Danny Gargan and Randy Hill and company thought when they looked at the condition book? It was that's and ran to it, certainly. We mentioned this one earlier, and I mentioned New York Breds that run very well in open company. This was a state bred stakes race earlier in the meet to Johnstone, and we're going to look at My Main Squeeze, Get It Done for Mike Maker. But My Main Squeeze is one of those that has bounced around in open company as a New York bred and done very well, has won graded stakes. So they have a really nice New York bred, and she shows up tomorrow in the Ballerina, and I think she's a player.
Yeah, certainly so. It's our New York bred horse of the year. Phenomenal career campaign last year for Buck Butler, and you said Mike Maker. And I think, needed the state bred company last time as a prep just to get her, back on a winning streak and a winning form, and certainly enters the Ballerina as a threat where it looks like could get a pace set up for her that'll, fit her needs.
Yeah, she's going to be a player in there, as they say, in a nice little field of open company. And again, she's a New York bred that has earned $1.2 million. So the New York bred program from my I always say for me, the turnaround was when Fiorito broke through the gate in the Whitney with Les Hewlett coming in from the Finger Lakes, and Fiorito got it done. That to me was kind of the turning point. Took a while, but now we're at the point where if you have a nice New York bred, you have a horse that can kind of travel around and face open company, or as I say, pick off those nice New York bred stakes on the New York State days here in New York. So you have plenty of opportunity, and we see plenty of those talented New York breds every year now.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd be remiss to mention that we have Bucero standing right here locally in Iron Horse Stallions at Quest Royal Farm, and one of his progenies, Bookham Dano, a New Jersey bred that'll compete in the 4-Go on Saturday. But of course, going forward, his foals will be New York bred. So excited to see that coming forward.
Yeah, he's an interesting sire to me of win early types as well. When I look at these baby races, I see Bucero as the sire. I'm always very much intrigued. Now, let's talk a little bit about you're based up here, right?
Yes.
Your organization's based up here. So what's the year like for you? Because I know downstate, you're down for the big New York bred days and whatnot, but do you bounce around? You bounce around to the farms as well during the year?
Certainly get around to our member farms or breeding farms, foaling locations throughout the state. By becoming a member of NYTB, you receive a monthly magazine, put out 12 issues a year, so you can get monthly content on the New York bred program and information, as well perks such as free entrance to Saratoga and downstate at the new Belmont. So that's a nice perk that you have as becoming a member of our organization, and just meeting folks and getting them interested in increasing our foal crop, increasing the field size, because as bettors and handicappers, we want full fields, we want competitive races. So a part of my job, and how do we make that mission happen?
Speaking of new Belmont, have you been down and seen the progress?
Yes, it's on schedule. September 2026 is the target opening date. So we'll have one more Belmont here in beautiful Saratoga, which you can't complain about. But that new facility with the Breeders' Cups that's been announced in 2027 is just going to be a top tier. Not many places. I don't think the last North American thoroughbred facility that was built, maybe the rebuilt Arlington.
Yeah, you might be right.
Sure, but
certainly a project of this size.
Yeah, so it's certainly going to be a top tier, the premier racing facility in North America, but we will always respect and have tradition for Saratoga. Absolutely. But something special is coming in Long Island as well.
And give us a little bit of your background, how you got into the game, because when I first met you, you were working for Naira, and then eventually transitioned over to where you are now. But how'd you get into the game, and take us through your Naira years? Definitely.
So I grew up. My uncle was a handicapper and a bettor, so I grew up going to the OTB and to Belmont and Aqueduct. Probably a little young, but please continue to take your kids and nephews and nieces, take them out to the track. And that's where I kind of got the bug. And after graduating from school at Florida State, I was just looking to get back in the industry. My uncle, he was a small-time breeder in Florida at that point. And he said, why don't you try racing? You love racing. Got an opportunity with the New York Racing Association, worked there for over 10 years in the press department, marketing, and then was able to work lastly with HR before moving on to NYTB, where I am now. But I tell you, this game is a family, whether you're a handicapper, a trainer, a worker for the racetrack or the association. It's good to see us all get along, and no place better to do that than Saratoga each afternoon. And great weather like today with a giveaway. Come on out.
Yeah, no question about it. And again, you've been with the New York Racing Association for a while. Talk about the redo down at Belmont, but the changes up here at Saratoga since you've been here, and certainly since I've been here. But the 1863 Club, I think what they did at the top of the stretch was a great idea. You had a couple of sections that barely got used most of the season, and now it's kind of an upgrade. And the little tree house in the backyard, I think what they've done the past few years up here has moved Saratoga kind of into the 21st century.
Definitely.
Keeping the tradition.
Yes, and it's about making sure that everybody at every level can have an enjoyable experience. If you want to stay in the backyard with your family and picnic and have a nice relaxing day, you can do that. If you want to put on the suit, get on a nice hat, you can go in the more exclusive areas or 1863 or the box areas or clubhouse seats. If you want to relax and still have a nice time, but wear shorts, there's a stretch where you can still have a great relaxing time. And I also have to mention that the upgrades that have been made have also been made on the backside. We've had new dorms, an upgraded Oklahoma training facility as well. So a great, job by Glenn Kozak and his team in making sure that all aspects under David Work's leadership at NYRA has been uplifted during his tenure.
And that's a great point, because I had Michael Dubman a couple of days ago, and Faith's House is a great addition. And I had Sharon Dominguez from Best, and they do great work. The Mondays and Tuesdays across the street with bingo and the soccer game. You're playing some soccer, right?
Yeah. I did compete in the Backstretch Soccer League, and those guys are good.
Enough said.
Yeah, it was a tough going, but kind of held my own. I think our first game we lost 5-1, but trust me, it could have been worse.
Keith said he was playing too, right?
Yeah. Keith McCallum was out there for the NYRA press office. We formed a little NYRA, NYTB team, and we got it handed to us, but we had fun. And it's all in good nature and making sure that everybody on the backside, has recreational activities outside of the work of working with horses as they do every day and putting in that work.
Yeah, I get the NYTHA representatives in here, and it's the same for you guys at NYTB, the backstretch workers, backbone of the community. And so, and also, I'm sure like NYTHA, you guys are kind of, aftercare has become an important issue as well.
Yes, without a doubt. We have to make sure that the welfare of our equine athletes are taken care of, and we're a part of that. NYTHA is a part of that, NYRA as well. And as you know, Seth, every claim that's made, a percentage goes towards aftercare and the care of those horses. NYTHA with their Take Two and Take the Lead organizations, it's really about making sure that our equine athletes and everybody that you see racing in the afternoons has a full life and lives a full life post-racing as well.
It's become so important over the past 5 years or so. And again, you guys are part of that, and part of the efforts for the backstretch and whatnot. And part of that also, little charity event before you go. You're going to be playing a little pickleball on Monday, right?
That's right. Therapeutic Horses of Saratoga, another great accredited aftercare organization, having a nice tournament. And I'll be getting my pickleball in. So please come on out and be a part of that event as well.
Yeah, it's just a couple blocks away. We had Kim Weir in the other day. It's right over at the rec center on Monday. I think it starts at 4:30, I think.
Yeah, 4:30, yes.
So go over and watch Naj play a little pickleball.
And get involved in the program. You talk to me about New York Breds as we get ready to play some pickleball as well.
Naj, appreciate the visit. Always fun to talk to you. And again, hope for a lot of good efforts this afternoon and Sunday as well. We saw some yesterday with the New York Bred Stakes, but it's been a fun little spread out leading into the Travers and the day after the Travers as well. As I say, the New York Bred program is just elevated so much. They're a fun part of New York racing now. So you're a big part of it. We appreciate the visit. We'll talk again.
Thank you, Seth. Really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, we'll take a break. Jose Santos Jr. is in the house. We'll talk a little bit about the jockey agent game and more. Stay tuned.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
For centuries, the bond between horse and human has been forged in trust and hands-on care. Thoroughbred racing is combining that tradition with cutting-edge technology to raise our standards even higher. New investments in wearable biometrics, advanced imaging, and AI help optimize our safety programs.
That opening quarter mile was a quick one.
Every day, a commitment to improving their care. So win or lose, it's safety that runs first. To learn more, visit safetyrunsfirst.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, joined now by Jose Santos Jr. Again, a guy revolutionizing the jockey agent game. We'll talk about that more. Good morning.
Good morning. How's it going, Seth?
Very good. Happy to have you on board. I said when you sat down, but trying to connect the whole meet. We had your father probably, well, it might have been a month ago. It's hard to believe how fast this meet goes, but he was a lot of fun coming in. Again, Jose Santos Sr., as it were, the rider of funny side. We talked about that. We hit on a lot of topics, but he was a lot of fun. So, but I've been saying we want to get you in and talk a little bit about jockey agent. And when I went and looked, you've got 8 riders now. Is that right?
Yes, 8 riders right now.
Okay,
yes,
and they're kind of all around the country.
Yeah, we're 8 riders at 5 different locations currently.
Very good. And for folks who aren't familiar with the game, and again, I said it earlier, I say it often. I think up at Saratoga, we pull new people in and have people who are maybe brand new to the game watching. Just talk about, in general, what's the job of a jockey agent?
Yeah, so we pretty much handle all bookings when it comes to the morning workouts, race day bookings. It's what we're in charge of. So we talk with the trainers, organize working out horses, talk about upcoming races, and just try to get them on the best mounts as possible. And, you know, sometimes that includes being out of town. So just having the foresight of what's going on in certain places and knowing when certain riders are out of town. Like coming up, we have the Kentucky Downs meet. So Jose Ortiz, Luis Saez, Joel Rosario, Frankie Dettori, they were all named on horses for opening day. So today's our entries for what is opening day at Kentucky Downs. We enter for that day here at Saratoga. So just trying to see what's open and available.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
So you're kind of looking at the other guys that, they're going to be out of town. There's some opportunities.
Yeah. Try to pay attention to what they're riding and try to pick up the right horse.
Yeah. Very good. And I just put together, I went to your Twitter feed, and you often put the wins for your jockeys. So I put together a little video just to kind of give folks an idea. We'll see getting wins, Manny Esquivel down at Colonial, Renee Diaz at Remington, Raylu Gutierrez out of Finger Lakes, and Chris Elliott just yesterday right here at Saratoga. And as you say, you have them all around the country. And again, that's kind of what you are doing to change the jockey agent game. I think for the most part, most agents just had a jockey at a track or a couple jockeys at a track, but you have them spread all around the country. What's that workload like for you? How does that work?
Yeah, no, it is a heavy workload.
Yeah.
Really, the whole thing is staying organized. You know, if I can stay organized and stay on top of, you know, my work and don't let it pile up, then it's just much easier to maintain. So I stay vigilant with doing that. I have a team behind me that helps me out tremendously as well.
I think your dad said he helped you out, right?
Yeah. And my father, I have a good friend of mine named Matt Memolo who also helps me out. He does excellent work. Ryan Martin, another guy who helps me out. He used to work here at Naira, so got a good team there. And then I represent Fernando Hara at Monmouth, and I actually share him with an agent called Anthony Montadoro, who also helped me out with Christopher, getting him going this winter at Aqueduct. He was living with him during the winter and helped introduce him to people. I was down in Florida, so he's been a massive help as well.
Yeah, I would think you'd have to have a team. But what was the impetus? Because, again, I think you're doing something that hasn't been the norm for jockey agents. So take us into, how did you get into the jockey agent game, and how did you move into this kind of brand new take on the profession?
So I got into the game because my father was a jockey agent at the time. He was representing Fernando Hara. He wasn't very good with reading the condition book. And he told me during the summer, he was like, if you chart the races, I'll pay you when we win races. So I was getting paid to handicap. It was like the best thing ever. I loved it. I was like 15, 14 years old.
Yeah, can I have that job? That sounds good.
And I was hooked from there. That was it, And I knew it's what I always wanted to do. I would do it in the summertime during high school, 16, 17 years old. I went to Kentucky to go to college, Bellarmine University. Within a year, I was a jockey's agent. It didn't go too well, but it's my passion. It's what I love to do, and I've been doing it full time ever since. Doing it with this style happened in 2020, of course, with COVID. But I'd already started 6 months before COVID had happened. I was representing a rider at the fairgrounds, and I was also working Turfway. And then when COVID happened, I was like, all right, well, now I've got to press the gas on this. I need to spread out immediately, and I did. And fortunately, that was unbelievably so 5 years ago, and it's been running ever since.
Let me ask you this: has technology played into it? Like, as I understand it, things now that in the day you'd have to be standing in the racing office, now you can maybe pull up a Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a massive help. Now, when I first started, there wasn't Zoom, and there are still racetracks that don't have Zooms, and it really isn't a hindrance to me at all. I'm in very good communication with the other agents I work with, and we pretty much have it handled who's going to ride which horses before the draw happens. So I'll just call up those racing offices and say, hey, this is who I'm riding in this race in case I'm doubled at the draw or something. This is who I'm riding, and they won't have to worry about calling me. But if they feel like something comes up, they always call me. All the racing offices are super, super, super helpful.
And then, again, I looked at your Twitter feed and you had on there #Santos Inc.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you have made enough of a name for yourself that at least one or two of the jockeys came to you.
Yeah. Trying to think of. I don't believe so. I don't think any of them have come to me. It's kind of like a situation to where like most of them were relocating to a new place, or like in the instance of Christopher, he didn't have an agent when I picked him up. He'd ridden.
How common is that?
Oh, it was his first mount. So, they were just getting him going. He won his first race. And before he got back to the jocks room, I probably already sent him a text asking him to be his agent. So, but yeah, most of them, you reach out to, or you kind of, just find each other through mutual people, which is also a big help. Like I'm representing Victor Espinoza here. That all came through. Wesley has Cliff Collier, who does a lot of his business. Cliff and I are good friends. Cliff couldn't be here for the meeting. He reached out to me to see if, I could fill in. So we all try to work together.
Yeah. Take us through a typical day up here for you. And is it busier at Saratoga for any reason? Because Saratoga just has a whole social scene. And
definitely. So the morning workouts is something that I don't make it to very often, but during this meet, it's just expected. You're here in the morning. You'll see Irad Ortiz and Jose Ortiz's agent out here. I don't believe you see him in too many other places, but he's here for the whole meet because that's Saratoga. It's a different game here. So usually in the morning, if I'm in a town where I'm at a racetrack I'm working, then I'll go out to the track in the morning, see who I need to see, and then from there it's just handling entries and draws. I mean, today I'll probably have my last draw about 6 o'clock tonight. First one will start about 11:30 noon. So from there, I'm just kind of sitting by the computer, watching the races, making sure everything's handled with the entries, and seeing what happens. Hopefully, whatever we planned plays out well.
And that's the same on our end too, of the handicappers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same for everybody at the racetrack.
Yeah.
So take us through how you get your jock amount from looking at the condition book, and then I'm guessing a big part of the job is you got to be a people person and go out, work the backside a little bit.
For sure.
And then the tracks you're not at, how does that work? Do you make visits occasionally to get to know the trainers?
Yeah, I'll make visits occasionally. I know most of the trainers, like all the racetracks that I'm working at some point I lived there, and I spent a good amount of time there. So I have a good communication line with most of the trainers. Really, it's just reaching out to them about certain horses I'm interested in. That's kind of my style. There's agents do it all different kinds of ways. It works for all different kinds of people, but my style is I like to ask about a specific horse and try to get my rider linked up with a horse that I think is going to give us a good opportunity to break into a new stable.
Take us through a typical year for you. You've been up here most of the meet. I know. Again, I've been trying to get you the whole meet. There was a period where you're out at Del Mar, and the other day you went down with Chris Elliott. You were down at Monmouth, but during the summer, I guess you're based up
Yes,
in
yes.
Saratoga. But how do you bounce around the rest of the year?
I've been here since June.
Okay.
So and that was just because of how it went with, we got the Belmont Festival here. So I'd imagine I'll do the same thing next year. But during the winter, like I'm going to go home in September back to Florida. Yeah, I live like across the street from Gulfstream. So I'll go home and I'll try to stay there as often as possible, pretty much until Keeneland starts in April next year. And like every 3 weeks I'll travel to one of the tracks that I'm at and, just make sure everything's good. I like to get in town when the new condition books come out. So I try to coincide my trips with the new condition book coming out. Ask for the horses I'm looking for. And then from there, they, once I've done that and I've got that handled, I can pretty much stay home until the following condition book.
Again, you're the son of Jose Santos Jr., who was a senior, who was a fixture up here in New York. So I assume you've been coming to Saratoga for a number of years.
My first day at Saratoga, I was 6 days old, and he won. My dad won the Jim Dandy on Unaccounted For, and then when I was 13 days old, he won the Whitney on Colonial Affair. So I've been coming here a long time. I've missed one summer my entire life, COVID. That year I didn't come up. Besides that,
I didn't miss much.
No, yeah, that's what they say. But besides that, every single year I've at least spent one day in Saratoga. It's unbelievable here. I mean, it's hard not to just absolutely love it. And being at a place like this and finding success, it just motivates you to keep pushing.
And you are now fairly recognizable as compared to probably many jockey agents. But again, with your unique story, you've been featured in. Oh, there's a nice article about you and Chris Elliott in the Times Union.
Yeah, I
will relate that to people.
Yeah, Adam did a great job with that article.
Yeah, as sons of jockeys.
Yeah.
That had to be fun to participate in. But again, with those kind of things, and you were on the Fox broadcast I saw a few weeks ago. You have to be fairly recognizable. You get recognized downtown?
Recently, ever since I went on the Fox, I've been stopped a couple times. It's pretty cool. It's nice. I got lucky. I was able to pick a winner when I got on there, so it made me look a little smarter than I am. But it was fun. Yeah,
excellent. Well, you got anything for us today?
I like a horse that Chris rides today, named Zerat for Ilkay Kanarmasi.
Okay.
I think that horse he broke his maiden for 35. Now we're dropping into 17,500. Now wears a 2 life, well drawn. Shows early speed. I think he's 10-1. I don't think he should be 10-1.
Okay, I like it. Speaking of Chris, and we just saw the little shot, and we looked at part of that montage was Chris winning yesterday on Taken the Win?
Taken by the Wind.
Taken by the Wind.
Yes.
The firster from Kenny McPeak. But I read on your Twitter, I didn't realize, and I know he was here. I don't know whether he was here yesterday, but I know he was here, I think, Belmont Stakes a weekend. And so I knew he had a horse, but Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah. It was his first runner, first winner.
Nice.
That'll happen when you mess with McPeak. You'll get in the winner's circle a lot. Yeah. He's helped me a bunch in my career. He's unbelievable.
Was Terry here yesterday?
No, I believe Kenny said he's in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Certainly, I would guess.
I think he still enjoyed it.
Yeah. Both things, being in Hawaii and the wind. But yeah, I know he was here earlier, so I knew he had a horse. And I didn't realize till I read your tweet that was his. That was a nice win yesterday.
Yeah, really nice. She was a little green about it, but once she got past the last horse and she switched leads, she really kicked clear that last 70 yards. Yeah, she was super impressive.
Yeah, and I was telling you before we went on, those are my top 2 flip-flops. So I was kind of hoping that the other one would hold on, but I knew with the momentum you guys were going by, and I was perfectly happy with a nice exact. I touted that in the Times Union as part of the plays of the day. So hopefully people jumped on board there. But that'll be one to watch going forward. Kenny, doesn't necessarily have them ready to go first time out, so that big performance like that was notable.
Yeah, it was very nice. Especially, I believe he wanted the grass with her, because it rained off. So I'll leave that in his hand. Whatever happens next, we're just happy to be on her. But there's a lot more there. A lot more there.
And the game plan for Chris is to continue in New York?
Yeah, we're dedicated and committed to the New York circuit.
Because I said at the beginning of the meet, he had been doing so well. I said, it's tough for apprentices when they come up here to Saratoga. And I didn't realize he was going to lose it as soon as he did.
Neither did we.
But
we thought we were going to have it a lot longer than we did. Unfortunately, we got I'm trying to think of the right way to say this. Unfortunately, we weren't allowed to get the extension that we thought we were going to be granted. So originally our plan coming here was we believed that we were going to have the bug at least halfway through the season. it didn't work out that way, but we've had a really good season regardless. We've won a stake here. We've broken two 2-year-olds maidens who we think a lot of now, and we've built business since we got here.
Yeah.
You know, we're in a interesting situation with like the riders who have been on the circuit for like 3 years or less. Out of those guys, we're doing the best of them all, and then we're kind of like breaking into that next level. So
I thought this winter and spring he came into this meet, and I thought he's going to be really interesting, and then boom, he lost the bug. But a ride like yesterday certainly very notable.
And he's a good hardworking person, like super good hardworking person, and super respectful. So
and again, I alluded to it, Stu Elliott's son. Smarty Jones. Stu was here earlier.
He spent 2 weeks here.
There was some time off in Florida.
He's at Texas and Remington, so there's 4 weeks between that meet, and he came to visit.
I thought I
the
saw
mother
him.
as well.
Jose, appreciate the visit, and again, it's been kind of fun watching. Bringing something new to the jockey agent game, a part of the game that most people probably aren't familiar with, but have gotten familiar with. Maybe
we're behind the scenes.
And you're kind of moving in the front of the scenes a little bit with taking a new approach, but it's been fun to watch, including up here with wins like we saw the other day. And again, looking around the country, the video we showed Colonial, Remington, out at Finger Lakes. Chris is popping out the Finger Lakes on days off
too. Goes there on the day off. So, he's just trying to win as much as possible right now.
Which
break in with as many people. And Raylu's over there as well because he's riding in Florida predominantly for Safi Joseph, but our business has been growing a lot because he's found success since he got down there. And he goes home Monday through Wednesday, spends his time with his family, gets to ride winners at the Finger Lakes at home whenever there's something to ride, and then go back down to Florida.
Yeah, Raylu has had a fun career. He was here. He was out of Finger Lakes, and he was here for a portion of his career. And won the meet at Fairgrounds.
Yes,
a couple of years ago, right?
2 years ago, won the meet at the Fairgrounds.
So he's been fun to watch as well. I mean, you have a nice string of jocks. It's been
lucky.
Fun to watch.
I'm lucky.
It's been fun to watch you. And as they say, it was fun to get your father in here a few weeks ago, and I wanted to get you in. So I'm glad we got you in before the meet wound up. And we appreciate the visit. We'll talk again. If you're right across the street from Gulfstream, we're usually down there Florida Derby weekend.
I'm there.
We'll pull you in that as well.
Bring me in.
All right.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jose Santos Jr., again, revolutionizing the jock agents game. Coming up next, it's our friend Bob Ehalt from the Blood Horse. We'll talk a little bit about couple of the articles he's written recently, hitting on some interesting topics, but I'll also get some looks at the weekend. Stay tuned. It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your #1 choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet-friendly too. Visit us online at impressionssaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
Why just watch the races when you can be in the middle of the action? For nearly 20 years, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program has made thoroughbred ownership affordable for the everyday fan. Ownerships of 5 and 10% are now available on a nice selection of horses. As a partial owner with Bonaventure Stables, you'll enjoy all the benefits afforded every owner. Visit with your horse in the private stable area. Greet the trainers and jockeys in the paddock. And when your horse wins, savor the moment in the winner's circle at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, or wherever you bring home the prize. Based in historic Saratoga Springs, Bonaventure Stables has been training winners and creating memories since 2005. Learn more, see available horses, and meet our team at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, it's our friend Bob Ehalt. We have him often by phone during the year, but get him live up here at Saratoga, as is the case with many of our guests who we talk to by phone during the year, but have fun when they sit in live, and that's the case with Bob this morning. Good morning.
Morning, Seth. Great to be with you.
Yeah, happy to have you on board. Regular coverage from Bob. Blood Horse, also America's Best Racing, does a great job, and you've been in the Belmont Stakes weekend. You've probably been up here 5 or 6 times
On Belmont State for here.
Well, I'm saying the whole season going back to Belmont Stakes.
Oh,
weekend.
yes. Oh, for this year, yes, yeah. It's been a lot of mileage on the car.
Yeah, no, sure. I can appreciate it, certainly.
Wearing in the new tires, that was
and we'll talk a little bit the weekend, but beforehand, I went out and looked at Blood Horse and some of the things you'd written about recently, and one of them hit my heart, and I knew we had to talk on it. You mentioned the workout for American Pharoah, and we bring that up fairly often because for me on the racetrack, there was nothing like it. It's a racetrack memory I will carry forever. We came in to do the show that morning, and Bob Baffert had Triple Crown winner American Pharoah with a workout on the track, and it was like an afternoon crowd. They were 4 deep on the backstretch rail here. It was just an incredible morning.
It really was. It was something I really wanted to write about because, as I've explained to people, I've seen Triple Crown winners. There was another Triple Crown winner 3 years later, but coming here on a Friday morning at 8:45 in the morning and seeing they said there were like 15,000, but that was really a very conservative estimate. I think there's at least 20,000, maybe more, to come just watch a horse gallop. I mean, it was just a gallop. It was something I knew I would never see again. And that's, something I've been following horse racing since 1971. I had never seen it. I don't think if it takes another 40 years between Triple Crown champions, I'm not going to be around for that. So it was the only time I saw it. And what it really was like for me, it was a lot like, I do understand with the gambling and the wins and the losses, that's the wheel that makes the sport go. But every now and then you like that feeling of that it is a sport, it has personality. And that moment to me was a lot like, say, if you're a Yankee fan, when they retired Derek Jeter or Mariano Rivera. These were the people coming out to see their hero and get a glimpse of them. And it was just, when I wanted to do the story because I had a feeling most people I would talk to who were involved with it would have the same feelings as me, and they did. I thought it was an interesting story. I did have good access to the Zayats back then. And it was also kind of personal for me because at the time I was working for ESPN, and what happened was a couple of years later, they switched things around. So they got rid of the server with all my stories. So it's sort of like that went into cyberspace. There's somewhere lost in cyberspace are all my stories on American Pharoah. So it was kind of nice to put something on a server that I hope will be around for a few more years.
You got to check that Internet Archive or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe they're still on.
I don't know.
I think that technology offers a lot of good things, but I think that's one of the things that I often wonder: will a lot of things disappear? Like Thoroughbred Times, I think a lot of.
I work for them too, so they, all that stuff is gone. Yeah. So it's as I say, a lot of my history has disappeared somewhere in Guam, somewhere. I think I don't know.
And again, it was just an incredible morning. I agree with everything you said. It's a memory that is indelibly etched now because it was just the backstretch here was incredible. And the front side was full of people too, but to have the people lined up on the rail back here, it was just the
same thing. It was like a Saturday watching the Travers. They were in the grandstand. They were 5 deep standing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why when they said 15,000, I said, no, that's really not right. A lot of times when you get those numbers, you exaggerate them and make them bigger. And this, I thought they were saying, boy, you're really being conservative with this, because I did not see a spot that was not open. The rail was filled, one body after another. And I kind of closed the story out with a little anecdote that I had at the Breeders' Cup. Baffert agreed to do the same thing at Keeneland, to give on, I believe it was the Thursday, a little gallop, kind of like what he did at Saratoga. And I remember talking with someone in the publicity staff at Keeneland, and they said, "Oh, you better get here early. We're going to get a huge crowd." And I said, "Well, they got 20,000 people at Saratoga." And she told me, "Oh, we'll get more than that. This is Kentucky. This is horse country. We're going to have more than that." Well, they have what I think you would call a huge crowd for a workout, but it was about 500 people. Yeah. And I said, "Yeah, no, I think you fell short by about 19,500 people, which is capacity of the crowd at Madison Square Garden." Yeah, so, to show how unique that was, I thought that reference shows you just how special that morning was.
That is a wild comparison with Keeneland, but it was just incredible, no question about it. There was one other article I wanted to talk to you about. You wrote about the victory up here with Come Full Circle. 87-year-old Bob Dunham gets the victory. Yeah, you got to appreciate that.
Yeah, Bob, I remember following Bob's horses when I started in like 1971. He had a really good filly by the name of Choucroute, if I'm pronouncing it right, a really good female sprinter who could beat the boys. It was really, you kind of wondered over the years, is this the same Bob Dunham? Is this his son? But, he keeps going, and, God bless him. It's, we lost Wayne Lucas, but Bob is still going strong. He only has 2 horses. So it's kind of a nice thing that, he's staying in the game doing that. And it was nice to see him get a win.
Oh, absolutely. 87 years old, gets a win up at Saratoga with only 2 horses in the barn.
2 horses.
So again, you can check out Bob's work at the Blood Horse. And again, America's Best Racing as well. We're going to talk about a few of the stakes, but let's just start out with some thoughts on the Travers. I mean, to me, Sovereignty is the dominant 3-year-old. A lot of people kind of thinking Magnitude's interesting. And I can't disagree off the 2 triple-digit buyers, but we're going to take a look at the win in the Belmont back in early June, right up here at Saratoga for Sovereignty. And again, I just think he's the best 3-year-old, and so I'm not trying to beat Sovereignty in here. But what are your thoughts on Travers?
I would agree with you. Sovereignty certainly he's definitely the horse to beat. I mean, on paper, Magnitude could do it, but it's a question of speed versus class. He really has not run against this type of horse. He did win a grade 2, but when you look back at the Risen Star and the horses who were in it, you really don't see any names that stick out to you. And I'm sure people play the game often enough. That sometimes you see a horse with big speed figures. When they step up in class, they can't match those speed figures. That's going to be the question here. It's a 1.25 miles. He will be pressed a little bit early by Bracket Buster. So I think there'll be, I don't think he's going to scamper off. And he's got to go up that 1.25 miles against the best 3-year-old in the country. I would be more interested in him if the price was a little higher than 2 to 1.
We were saying on the handicapping show this morning.
I think that's a very small price to take with so many question marks. Maybe, hey, look, he wins by 6. You're going to look back and say, my gosh, I got 2 to 1 on Magnitude back then. But going into it, I am not that keen on it. I really do like Sovereignty. For me, the second play would be Strategic Focus. I think you're getting a better price, though. Chad Brown, a lot of times you see a good morning line price and it doesn't materialize when post time. But as much as he was 3rd in the Curlin, which really is not it's not a graded stakes or anything like that, but Chad was really baffled that he kind of tired in the final 8. He's putting on the blinkers, and he's trying him here. And I think Chad, there's few guys who can assess their horses as well as Chad. If he thought that horse got beat because he wasn't good enough, he would not be here.
Yeah.
So I think if you can I think you can get a much better price on him, and he might be the horse to complete your exacta, or maybe pull off a victory.
We said that on the morning show, though. Again, Magnitude. Even if you're looking for the upset, you're not getting much of a price there. So
no, I mean that's the problem with a 5-horse field. Yeah. But in a sense, if you are a little down on him, it does give you more value on somebody else somebody's got to finish 2nd.
Yeah.
And if Sovereignty is, hey, this is Saratoga. How many 1 to 9 shots have we seen gone down here? So, I'm sure he looks like a horse you could single, but then again.
Yeah, if everything goes the way it is on paper, as they say, he's the dominant 3-year-old. But again, it is horse racing. Funny things happen in small fields too.
Exactly. Sometimes the rider, it's really a rider's race because of that. I always find in a lately I've been looking, and it just seems that there's not a lot of jockeys who know how to ride speed in a small field. A lot of them, they go off by 7, or they lead by a length and, holding the horse back and then figure they can outclose. Instead of like going off maybe 2, 3, 4 lengths, let the other horses come out of their comfort zone. Here in New York, I love Kendrick Carmouche on the lead. He handles it really well. But a lot of other jockeys, I mean, I saw an instance at Monmouth with a big 1-9 favorite where the jock was lone speed, and he led by a length with just a touch, and then he got outfinished.
Yeah.
And it was like, you just kept everybody in the race, and then you got beat. So
yeah, no, you bottom them out.
It certainly is. It's not as easy as it might seem.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at some of the action and get some of your thoughts. We'll start things out in the Lake Placid. I went with Play with Fire in here. Interesting race, but your thoughts in the Lake Placid on the turf?
Yeah, I think, it's always tough to go against Chad Brown in a Philly turf race, but I got to say her figures aren't all that outstanding. I think if somebody might beat her, it could be, I'm going to take a look at the Mike Rapoli Philly Eponine, Philly coming in from Europe. I think they have nice regards for this horse. She was a Group 2 winner. Didn't run well last time, but, I got a feeling we might see a better performance here, and she might be a pretty decent price.
Yeah, interesting that he brings her over and gives the try here. Race number 9 is the Personal Ensign, and, the highlight of the day is clearly the Travers, but I would say this is going to be a second exclamation point with Torpedo Anna. I'm taking a little shot with Leslie's Rose against Torpedo Anna. I may be crazy, but I thought I'll roll the dice slightly. But again, just as a storyline, I'm rooting for Torpedo Anna.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I thought if somebody could beat her, it might be Leslie's Rose. That was a real good race in the Shoe V. Maybe Todd has finally gotten her back into the right form. Torpedo Anna, when you look at her speed figures, when you look over this race, she doesn't dominate the field. I mean, she's Chad's 2 fillies, Raging Sea, randomized, and they're certainly in the picture. This is not a 2 to 5 shot, I think, in Torpedo Anna, even though in terms of that she's the reigning horse of the year and all the acclaim that she's gotten, you would think she should be. But I think she's going to have to work for a win. And Leslie's Rose, given that the Chad horses are going to get a lot of play, you might get a decent price on Leslie's Rose. And she might bounce off that effort in the Shoe V, but if she doesn't, I think she's going to be a good contender here.
Yeah, I thought so too. The Shoe V, I thought, set her up very nicely, but again, going to have to get past Torpedo Anna, obviously. Race number 10 is the Jerkins. I think this is a fun sprint for the 3-year-olds. I pulled up a replay going back to the Woody Stevens to watch Patch Adams win. I went with Verifier. I like that one. Underneath, I like the Baffert runner, Midland Money. They're both very lightly raced, but showing a lot of talent. But the more I looked at the race, I may be ignoring Chancer McPatrick, who I've liked going back to last year. And off the win last time, maybe he's back in form, and we'll see. And the cutback, I think, is interesting. It's an interesting race. What did you see in the Jerkins?
It's really wide open, and I think it's really a very, very good race. I agree with you. I thought Brad Cox kind of has his hand on the, thumb on the race with Patch Adams and Verifier in a uncoupled entry. Patch Adams has won in the mud the last few times. I'm not sure he's like a mud lover, but sometimes the rivals don't fire their best race. So I'm not as sure on him. Verify looks like he's ready to go to prime time. The interesting, there's a couple. I agree with you, Chance McPatrick. Chad was even saying before the Curlin he liked the idea of the turn back to run Chance McPatrick in the Curlin at 1 1/8 miles, 2 turns, and then turn him back to 1 turn for the King's Bishop for the Jerkins. So I think he's definitely in play. 2 others from Baffert. Look, Barnes. This is a horse they paid $3.2 million for. They had high hopes. Didn't seem like he wanted to go that long, 2 turns. Now they're cutting him back to 7 furlongs. He hasn't run, though, since the Santa Anita Derby. we'll see. I mean, we'll find out really how good, if that $3 million was a wise investment, and naming the horse after your number one assistant, which, is usually you want to make sure it's a great horse. So they had high hopes. We'll see. The other one who I think is interesting, Nantucket Road, he doesn't win, hasn't won at these levels, but I think you're going to get a pretty square price on him. And he's the kind of horse who could get into your exotics. Maybe, round out the exact or the triple. I would really look at him as a horse who I feel will fire a pretty good race and is going to probably be a good price.
I left both of those two out of the mix, and they both scare me. Barnes and Nantucket Road, yeah. I will admit they're both very live. And finally, the Forego. I went logical, Bookham Dano over Mulligan. Bookham Dano's been so much fun to watch and comes off with a nice win. We're going to take a look, however, at a horse that Dave Grenick was in yesterday, mentioned this horse, and I said, I found Scotland a little bit interesting myself. I eventually left it out of the mix, but we'll go back to last December, the Cherokee Mile down at Churchill. You'll see Scotland win. If you're looking for a little bit of a price, he's kind of interesting. As I said, though, I wound up on Bookham Dano.
Yeah, I think there. To me, I agree with you with Bookham Dano. I think it's hard to get past him. If you're going to single somebody on the day, I would think he might be the one I would look at because he likes this track. He's in great form. I don't see a lot of negatives at all with him. These other horses are going to have to basically run the best race of their lives. He's a very game horse. It's not like he needs a specific setup to win the race or anything like that. So. I like Bookham Dano, and hey, I'm old enough to remember watching Hawaii 5-0 when it was with Jack Lord and James MacArthur, the original Dano. So a little bit of allegiance there.
Yeah, the old Bookham Dano. And wasn't James MacArthur? Wasn't his mother somebody famous?
She was a famous actress. I forget who she was.
I forget now too. But
Ellen Hayes or somebody like that.
Yeah, that may be it.
It was some famous actress. Yeah. Yes, you are right.
Yeah.
I don't know how the MacArthur came in, but
well, maybe wanted to get away from the nepotism.
I don't know the thing, but no, he was. Those are fun shows.
Yeah. Bob, appreciate the visit. Again, folks, you can find your work over on Blood Horse, America's Best Racing. Obviously, you'll be having some recaps of some of the stakes action up here over the weekend and more. But we appreciate the visit.
Thanks, Seth. Always a pleasure to be with you.
All right, we'll wrap things up for this Friday edition of Racing Across America. And let me remind you that tomorrow, programming note, again, there's an 11:10 post time here. That means that the NYRA pregame show will start about 9:30. We'll wrap up before that. So handicapper support is 8 a.m. tomorrow. Racing Across America, an abbreviated edition starting at 9. So make that programming note to tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on Travers Day. Today, tote bag giveaway day. Don't forget, if you're coming up, tote bag free with paid admission while supplies last. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, again, 8 o'clock tomorrow, handicapper support, 9 o'clock, Racing Across America. See you then. Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer. Wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. When you can't make it to the track, make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.